and welcome to Best of Five, your weekly FGC talk show. My name is Steve Jurek, aka Ace King Offsuit, and tonight I am joined by nobody. So Ilan unfortunately had to get caught up in work travel, so he may be joining us a little later this evening, but I will be your guide this evening. But I am not alone. At least I won't be, because later on in the show, we do have Bloo from AnimeFGCNews to come on. We'll be talking about a whole bunch of stuff coming out of the anime scenes, the climax reveal, lab coat getting banned at CEO, Granblue update. We've got a ton more coming out of there. We've also got an interview later on with DJCream, Daryl Bunao, who from Vortex Gallery, the side tournaments that are going to be taking place at Evo 2022. So we've got a lot to discuss tonight. My plan was to kind of muse for a while on Combo Breaker, and obviously that's the big event that took place this past weekend. I was there. I got to see a whole lot of people in the chat, a whole lot of people who I haven't seen in a long time. I was hoping to spend a good chunk of time sort of gathering my thoughts about that. But Capcom's like, nah, you don't get that opportunity. We've got other things to do. So I'll try and keep it brief. As I've mentioned, I do have little Ace Jack coming in a few months now. Jeez, it's getting close. So this is, for the foreseeable future, the last offline event that I will be able to attend. And what a way to go out. It was absolutely just, it's indescribable to go so long without experiencing something like that. I actually got a little bit emotional Sunday night coming out of the main hallway, walking through the hotel lobby, going up to my room, because I walked through and there was just nothing but this din of energy and the click clack of buttons, and it was just people having fun, enjoying fighting games everywhere you looked, every corner of the lobby, every hidden nook and cranny. It was just beautiful, and that was something I truly, truly missed. But there is one moment that kind of gave me some peace with my decision, and that also happened on Sunday a little earlier. There was this family who was there. I don't know. I didn't catch their names, unfortunately. But there was a dad there, and they had their little toddler, looked to be about 2 or so. And during one of the top 8s, they got into some clear space in the middle of the floor. And the little kid would run a few feet away, put his arms out like so big, and then go tackle daddy. Just being able to share a moment like that in the community we have, and the possibility that someday that might be me, that put me at peace with my decision to step away. I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it terribly. There's a lot of you I did get to talk to. There's a lot of you I didn't get a chance to talk to. Maybe someday I'll be back in the fold and we can do it. But till then, fighting games are something so great. And we saw that this past weekend. Also worth pointing out, I'm running a little lower tech than normal. We have a wonderful program called vMix, which handles all the transitions, all of the graphics, the recap and being able to do multiple things at once. And we love that program. We have one license for Alon's computer. This is not Alon's computer. So I'm on the old setup. So those of you who are regular watchers might be a little bit jarring. I do apologize, but hopefully we put on a good show for you tonight. And we're gonna start talking about some of the events, some of the tournaments that took place at Combo Breaker. We can't possibly get into all of them, but we'll cover a few of the biggest ones, starting with what went down as the main event: Guilty Gear Strive, Tempest NYC, the happiest of happy chaoses, getting the win over Umisho, or excuse me, he was not all that happy. Umisho, your runner-up, Lost Soul and Hotashi rounding out the top four. You have some international representation too with Peppery Splash coming down from Canada. Punk finishing just outside top 8. Impressive weekend for him in Guilty. Moving over to King of Fighters, and it was a Mexican party on the main stage. 3 Mexicans in top 8, including 2 in the grand final. Tamago getting the win over fellow countryman Paco. Arslan Ash, if you thought he was just a Tekken player, oh no. He's got some KOF in him. He's got some real good KOF in him. He finished 3rd to round out the podium. Reynald finishing 4th, the highest placing American player. Chris G, just outside the top 4, picked himself a few top 8 medals this weekend. Also, just outside of top 8, tied for 13th, our former co-host Donka. I saw him. I don't remember who he lost to in losers, but I know that Arslan Ash sent him to the losers bracket. So, but he had himself a nice weekend. So congratulations to the man whose banner is hanging in the best of 5 rafters. Moving over to the other game that you might know Arslan Ash from, Tekken 7. He is your champion coming over, first time ever at Combo Breaker, and he makes the most of it. A very international top 8. Gen from Japan in 2nd, Anakin rounding out the top 3, and you have Sephi Black coming over from Germany, one of, I believe, 30 European players who made the journey over. There was a strong European presence, especially even once you get out of top 8. Chikamaru, Fergus, Rukang, Tetsu, Kira. Also, a big weekend for Cuddlecore, who, on top of finishing top 8, was picked up by Counterlogic. We did mention that during last week's show, but once again, congratulations to her. And congratulations to Team North America, who pulled off the 10-8 win over Europe in that highly touted exhibition. Anakin and Victim of Ritual doing work for the U.S. 3 wins apiece. Europe had a couple of heavy hitters as well. Maybe not the ones you'd expect, though. Joka and Go Sane each picked up 3 wins for the European side. There was also an exhibition in Street Fighter, Midwest versus West Coast, and let's be honest, it was the Just a Kid show. It was looking pretty bleak for the Midwest. They were down 8-5 until Just a Kid ran it all the way back. The happiest I've ever been to lose a pizza bet, because Alon just sort of took Midwest from me. But East Coast did get a little bit of a victory. IDOM coming through to win the tournament proper. Kaba and Mono rounding out the podium there. Once again, Punk finishing just outside top 8 behind players like Filipino Man, Shine, Mena, and Up to Snuff. Also, shoutouts to Chris CCH making top 4. Nice run for him. Like I said, there were a whole bunch of other tournaments that took place. I can't go through every single event, but you've got the full list of winners there. Chris G, as I mentioned, got himself a couple wins in Marvel 3 and Third Strike. Monarch winning Central Fiction. Scrot Vermilion, your Type Lumina champion. Legendary Pret, who has been on the come up, getting the win in DBFZ. Congratulations to him. And Pen Pen, your Skullgirls champion, coming all the way over from Japan, came up through the losers bracket to beat Sonic Fox in Grand Final. And it was 3-0, 3-0. It was arguably the most entertained anyone's ever been by Sonic 06. That was a terrible joke, and I apologize. Let's kick it back to the recap, shall we? Because we had more action going on. On the other side of the world, we had the some A-League action in the Topanga Championship. This is the second to last stage. 9 players in two groups. The top 3 from each group qualified directly to the final. The 4th place finishers in each group face off in a playoff to reach the finale. Tokido in very strong position, sitting on top of the Blue League, or the blue side of the A-League at 5-1 with just a couple matches to play. The fight for those other 2 spots, those other 2 direct qualification spots, getting kind of tight. Momochi at 5-2, but tiebreakers mean that he is definitely not free and clear just yet. You've got Higuchi, Gachikun, and Bonchan, and John Takeuchi, who can all make plays to get into the top 3 or even the top 4. And then on the other side, it's a little bit clearer. You've got 4 players who have separated themselves quite clearly. Pugera at 5-1, or excuse me, 6-1. Fudo and Kawano at 5-1. Daigo at 4-2. Those 4 in some order look to be the players who will have at least a chance of getting into that finale. Pugera looking very, very strong to get in there directly. But those other 3 players fighting for those final 2 spots. And that is your recap. Whew. And I'm running out of time. I'm not even going to talk all that much about the Punk thing. I want to spend a little time on that. I feel like he's getting dunked on way too hard. For those of you that don't know, Punk, after Combo Breaker, or towards the end of Combo Breaker, tweeted out that he hated the tournament. He was having a bad experience. He wasn't planning on coming back. People asked him why. He didn't elaborate. Rick, the head TO, got on Twitter and said, "Hey, love to sit down and talk with you about it." He said he didn't want to. I feel like people are going too hard on him. He is, he's a top player, but he's also a customer. If he didn't enjoy the experience, he has every right to voice that opinion. He does not have an obligation to be the one that fixes the experience for others. I will say this, though. He's one of the few people who you could argue has to be there. He's one of the few where this is his job. If he's not, if it's an issue with something like equipment or setup or something like that, there is a lot of crossover between the staffing between Combo Breaker and events like CEO or Evo, because Evo has crossover with everybody. If you're looking if it's an issue with equipment, like a lot of people thought it was, there aren't that many equipment vendors for fighting game tournaments that work on that scale. Combo Breaker, CEO, and Evo all use the same equipment vendor. So if that's the issue, it's probably in his best interest to sit down and hash that out. But other than that, I think people are just going way too hard on that. You know, if he let him have his experience, and you know, if your experience runs counter to that, which I know a lot of people have, you know, just enjoy what you enjoy. So that's all the time I'm going to talk about that. We've got a few things to dig into coming out of Combo Breaker. First off, real quick, them's Fightin Herds. That game had a pretty big presence at Combo Breaker. They were part of the main lineup. This past weekend, they did announce that the game is actually coming to consoles. That is something that has been in the works for a while, and it is finally happening. So look for that this fall. There's also a season pass, which with I believe 4 characters. They'll be part of that mix. So stay tuned for that. Also, we had an announcement for the Tekken World Tour, which we thought was in the works. Alon went all Detective Alon. You think that's a bit for the show? No, that is something he just does all the time. But he was right. He thought something was going to get announced at Combo Breaker, and it was. Michael Murray came on stage and, in a slightly awkward presentation, unveiled the details of the Tekken World Tour for 2022. The big takeaways are that there are going to be 5 offline master events. The first one will be CEO at the end of the month, followed up by Evo, which will be a Master Prime event, which awards more points. VS Fighting, Rev Major, and the Mix-Up rounding out the rest of the offline schedule for points. There's also dojo events, which will be run online. Multiple tiers of those dojo events, so larger ones will be worth more points. The top players from each region will head to regional finals, and those, depending on the region, it will maybe 4 players, 8 players, 16 players. There's a few different formats, but effectively, top points earners go to an offline regional final. The winner of each of those regional finals go to the global final. There's a few regions, Middle East, East Asia, and Oceania, where there is no regional final. It's just the top points earner gets to go. Big news in terms of representation, couple new regions. West Africa and North Africa will be represented at the global final, as will Pakistan. They are their own region, so that is awesome to see. Whew. And I can't even really dig into that more because Capcom's like, no, you got to talk to us. You gotta. We've got some more things to discuss. So during this afternoon's State of Play, we did get our first look at some Street Fighter VI gameplay. Let's check that out. I really like there's a lot of little nods to other Capcom games and Capcom properties there. Hakan, Metro City, there's a Hagar statue there.
It's not like a game. This journey doesn't have a real ending. Okay then, hope you're ready to begin. you want to start off on the right foot in this city, hit the streets.
Yes. Hey, there, I do this.
So here's where things get a little left turning, because you see, you're about to see Luke walking through the world, climbing ladders, DPing barrels. So there appears to be some sort of world exploration level aspect to it, which is interesting. I'll get to that in a little bit, but now we got Miss Chun.
It started from the ground up, training getting wound up, channeling it in itself and moving up and down, crossing over, passing around, from the time the clock and keep score. Years I never thought it crossed before. When I get tired on my knees, I gotta dig in the deep. I feel like I'm on the left, but really yes, got me.
Thus far, I'm not sold on the character designs, but I like the art style that they're going for, if it makes sense.
This will be a good fight.
And of course, we actually get gameplay. And there are quite a few interesting things to take away, which we'll dig into in a little bit. Some armor / focus attack sort of thing. Got some V-shift-esque things, some parry-esque things. Looks like they're taking aspects from a lot of other Street Fighter games. A lot of stuff from Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5. All coming into one thing. There we got the battle hub here that they showed off a little bit of. And of course the big thing, PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X. So the era of Sony only for Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter is over. They released a few other bits of information with that as well, including a trailer which I'm not going to have time to play, but there's live commentary basically. Well, they're branding it as live commentary, but instead of a random fight, announcer commentator, it's an actual FGC event commentator doing the action. The two they revealed were Vicious, obviously English language, and Aru, aka Papa Tiwawa, the legendary Japanese commentator. So you have the option of having them commentate your match, which is a nice option to have. Gives you a little different style of immersion, which is pretty darn cool. The other, so I'll do this real quick because I'm running out of time here. But if you go to the Street Fighter website, there is quite a bit here in terms of the modes. They're talking about Fighting Ground, which sounds like the main fighting game section, but they also have Battle Hub and World Tour. Battle Hub seems to be the home for where you start matches, where you get if there's missions or anything like that. And then there's World Tour, which is what they're calling, quote, an immersive single-player story mode. Now, whether or not you like the specifics of this particular decision to go open world, beat 'em up, what have you, I appreciate the fact that they are going for something significant for first player mode, because if you remember the launch of Street Fighter V, say what you will about the fighting game side of things, it was sorely lacking in features, especially for newer players and players who weren't necessarily looking to become pro players or care about that side of the equation. There just wasn't that much to do. World Tour, whether it's amazing or not, it's something. It's Capcom trying something, and I appreciate that. Going back to the where I just lost the page. I'm sorry, but they also dive into some of the mechanics that they're talking about, as well as control type, and we will get more into this next week. But there's both a modern and a classic control style. Modern feels like if you remember stylish mode from Marvel 3, you don't have to be as precise. There's auto combos, a lot of simpler inputs. You can, there's effectively a super move button. So if you do, the example they gave with Ryu is if you press triangle, it's fireball. If you press back in triangle, it's Tatsu. If you press down in triangle, it's DP. That sort of thing is, I'm glad it's there, simply because I feel like inputs can be unnecessarily. It doesn't. It feels like it scares off a lot of people unnecessarily. It. I'm glad that Classic is there. I'm going to use Classic, obviously, and it feels like Classic has some more advantages. You'll have access to every move in the book, whereas you have light punch and light kick, whereas with modern you just have light attack. But well, like I said, we will get more into that next week because there is a whole lot to dig into. But I have to say I like what I see so far. There's obviously things that can go wrong. There's things that might not be implemented well. But I like that they're trying different things. I like that they're going for that they're trying to do something to bring in newer players without sacrificing what traditional / already established players expect. So yeah, like I said, there's just a whole lot to go through or dive into, and I promise you, we will be doing more of that next week. But we've got some other things to talk about coming out of Combo Breaker, and I need some help. I can't do that alone. So, joining me right here, let me slide. Oh, hold on. There we go. I need the other ones to not. Yeah, sorry about this. So, joining us this evening, from AnimeFGCNews, it is Elvis Mack, aka Bloo for life. Bloo, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
I forgot. So right before the stream, I was actually hanging out with some friends that I had Push to Talk on, and I was just like, "Oh shoot, I have that still on."
I was scared because I was trying to bring up my old Streamlabs setup and making sure I had everything set up right, and I thought I screwed up. So, but we're good. We're good. We're live.
Okay.
First of all, thank you for coming on.
No,
I
of course.
appreciate. I know you got a lot going on, so I appreciate you spending some time with us. Before we get into it, as I mentioned, you're part of AnimeFGCNews. Were you involved in the creation of that, or did that exist, or and you came on later, or how'd that come about?
So actually, AFCC News was a project that was started by Gibbs, also known as Gibby now, and they just wanted a way to get anime news out to the public in general. And as I really wanted to get more into that project, when they were saying they wanted people to come in to volunteer and help out, then I took the opportunity to come in with a few other people. And just over time, it just divulged more into just the two of us, and then more getting more hands on, getting more in touch. And that's just when it turned into like the last 2 years, I want to say, that turned into just me making the graphic, making all the different upcoming events for the week just for anime games specifically.
Well, what I appreciate is that, sort of like me with the schedules, it felt like there was sort of this area that was being underserved, and what you and your team have done is sort of stepped up and helped to fill that void. So I appreciate the work you do. Thank you for that. Thank you for always keeping us up to date in the Discord, on Twitter. We got plenty of love for you over here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And like honestly, just so I can go off a little bit tirade before we start with the anime stuff, thank you, Steve, for everything, because like I wouldn't have gotten into any of this with the AFCC News or anything with terms of like bringing out news to the anime community if it wasn't for you and your schedule being like, oh shoot, I gotta find a schedule. Where do I go for it? Okay, I'll leave it to Steve. He got it.
Oh man, I'm just glad what I do helps people. Oh, we got a whole lot to talk about, man.
So, what do you want to start with?
Let's start with, you watched you watched Combo Breaker from home. You were Stream Monster General.
That's why I have all the monitors in the back.
Of course, you're fully prepared. What moments really stood out to you? What did you most enjoy from that weekend?
Okay, so I promised some people that I would talk about it, and I would not, and they would yell at me if I didn't. But the Granblue tournament, the top 8 for Granblue, was absolutely amazing. Various characters, only 2 similar characters, which is Seox, one of the newest characters in the game. But everybody else played a very different style in a very different type of way. And that community is so passionate about the game. You can see anytime that it comes onto a Twitch chat, everybody's always there to support. If there's a sale online, everybody's like, hey, go buy this game. It's on sale, that kind of thing. So being part of that community and watching it grow on the inside really was interesting to me. And plus the top 8 was absolutely amazing. BBC at Blue Central Fission was really good as well, because we had an international player, Dragon Lord Z, actually come out to Combo Breaker to compete in that event. And grand final was him versus Monarch, who is by far right now the strongest Blue Central Fission player. And it came down to the very last game, and almost the very last round before Monarch took it. And it was so close that it was such an amazing top 8. And then, before we go into some of the other stuff, just Guilty Gear Strive in general, it was the final game for Combo Breaker. One of the many few times that Guilty Gear Strive will be a final event for some of these majors. And just the top 8, everybody's showing their A game. Hotashi just being the entertainer as usual. Lost Soul being the entertainer as usual. And just Happy Chaos just shooting his way into a top 3, top 2 finish. It's actually one of the funniest things I could think of.
Man, what I really appreciated was like Lost Souls Happy Chaos was definitely, it was a lot less keep away than some of the others we've seen.
Yeah, Umisho definitely played more of a keep away style, while Lost Soul more rush now. And that's something I really like about Strive is like, even though the characters are more simplistic than say like SR or Plus R, you have a way to play with your unique style. If you want to play Rushdown, you can play it with almost any character in the cast. If you want to play Keep Away, you have those options. If you have a Fireball or those options to keep you away, you have that player uniqueness. And not outside maybe Leo, I would say you can generally play however you like.
All right, I know you mentioned Granblue. Have you had a chance to dive into the patch notes for the update that just got announced?
Yes, and I actually had a chance to play it while we were just starting the show. And my initial impressions, and this is purely mine, the community is still trying to figure stuff out about it, is it is very, very interesting. So for those who don't know, this morning, around 6 o'clock in the morning, they had a video to show all the new different types of gameplay mechanics. There were going to be a technical roll dash, a technical roll shift, and then overdrive. So the technical roll dash and shift are more if you want to put it in like a terms of Street Fighter 5 V shift, where you can dash forward and dash back depending on, and you spend 50 meter to use it. Meanwhile, for the overdrive, you cost all your meter and you get into the power up state where you don't take chip damage, you do chip damage on normals, and you just overall become more powerful while you have access to your supers at any point. And generally, this has been received more positively in the general fan base because if you ever played Granblue at all, the only thing that you used super meter for at the beginning was just for the supers themselves. If you had 100 meters, you're going to do a super or you're just going to die with it. Now you have more options about, hey, do I want to spend this meter to get away from like pressure, or do I want to cost it all at the chance of making a huge comeback or securing a kill against an opponent? And that kind of complexity and depth to the game did not change the characters at all, but gave more idea for players to use against certain characters.
All right. Do you think? I know you said it doesn't change the characters, but do you think there's any character who benefits from having sort of like that V shift esque ability to get out of pressure?
I would say the biggest characters that would benefit the most out of this is characters without any kind of invincible reversals other than like using a super. So characters like Matera, Eustace, Cagliostro, characters of that nature, they are able to spin 50 meter to just escape heavy pressure because they don't have a DP. And one of the benefits of using the VCF Swift is that when you do the backdash, you have a little bit of recovery, of course. But for the people who actually have DPs or have invincible move to get out of these situations, they take a little bit longer. So they balance it in a way so that it's more enticing for the people that have no reversal option to use it. But for the people that do, to either use your DP or use your invincible wake up, or just take the hit and use that 50 meter to absolutely save yourself.
All right. So obviously, there's still a lot to be discovered with that,
Okay.
and how all those matchups play off now that you have the ability to either continue pressure or back out of pressure for meter. So do you think we'll see some significant changes in terms of results, or do you think it's still too early to tell?
I want to say it's too early to tell, especially. So the biggest test about it is that CEO, the next major that coming up, will be running this patch. So will Evo, and Combo Breaker just finished on the last patch. So currently on the last patch, it would Cagliostro, Sith, Beelzebub. Those characters are still prevalent in this game. They're not changing because of just these sensitive mechanics, but it may give rise to other characters who had the chance to shine. Like my character, Eustace, he really get benefit from these changes, and I can see him actually going up a tier or two just because of these changes alone. Will it stay like that once people get used to it? I have no idea. It's just what time will tell.
So we may see more characters at
Oh
CES.
yeah, yeah. I definitely do think we'll see a lot more character variety in Granblue. I think that's still the case in right now because Granblue has a very much a dedicated fan base where just because the top characters are prevalent, that doesn't mean that other characters are not known or not played. Every character has some sort of sign to them. It just takes a while for them to show up, I would say.
All right. Well, look, I know that we're going to see more characters at CEO. There is one character that we definitely will not see at CEO. To the delight of many, to the dismay of some, that is Labcoat 21 in DBFZ. Jabali took to Twitter to announce that Labcoat will be banned for CEO. What were your thoughts when you saw that come down?
Honestly, my first initial thoughts is, wow, they actually did it. Because at the time, and this is how just Jabali had the worst timing of all time. At the time, we were like, wait, when did that patch that Bandai Namco, if you guys don't know, Bandai Namco announced that there were going to be a balance patch for Labcoat 21 at some point, and we were like, is that patch note's going to come before CEO, before Evo? When is it going to be? But Jabali made the decision to cut Labcoat 21. And then the day after, Bandai Namco was like, coming out in July. Thanks, guys. Bye.
They said it's coming in July. My question is it going to be just after CEO July or just before Evo July? Because if it's the latter, that has the ability to shake up everything in terms of who's strong, who's weak, very quickly before the Evo.
I want to say it will be after CEO because I would figure Bandai Namco just want all their characters to show up at Evo, even if they're like determined because of Labcoat. Is he still good? Is he still broken? No? Okay, good.
Well, we saw a whole lot of Labcoat at Combo Breaker. I went through. If you look at top 24, she was on 19 teams. Like Doom in Marvel 3 at Evo 2017. As big of a problem Doom was, he was only on 14 of top 24. I don't think I've seen 19 of 24 on one team, even in Skullgirls. And that's a game that launched with 8 characters. And you could run a team of 3. And we did not have this level of penetration with any sort of character.
Yeah, for sure. And I told you guys this in the Discord, which you should follow, the Best of B Discord link. But on the stream chat, every time that 21 got a debuff in top 8, the Twitch chat counted. By the end of the top 8, it was 77 debuffs.
Jeez,
77 command grabs to nerf your damage and buff hers.
Yeah, so those who don't know, can you tell us a bit about debuff for those who don't necessarily play DBFZ? Why is this move so hated?
So, if you don't know, the debuff that Labcoat 21 has is during a command grab. It is a command grab that she has that will do 21. She will get 21% more damage on you on special moves, which is really good. But the bad part is you will do 21% less damage, not just on 21, the entire team. And it doesn't stick around. It sticks around for the entire game. So you can have matches last long, not because nobody getting hit. It's just because damage is taking way too long to dish out. Because there is certain teams that people have with Labcoat 21 where it's literally you get the hit, you get a corner combo, you switch in Lab Code 21, you do a stop, you get a command grab, done. They're already doing less damage on you for the rest of the game. And that right there just makes games longer. It makes games more frustrating for the players. And that's why this ban was very pushed upon by TOs, by Bum especially, by other players, top players especially, definitely wanted this ban. Just the entire community did not want this character to be played in any capacity.
Yeah. I actually took that to Twitter as the question of the day. If do you agree with CEO's decision to ban Labco 21? We gave you the option of saying, yeah, banner, no, let her rock, or the alternative that I've seen a few people throw around is don't ban her, but just ban debuff. Um, Throwing that option in didn't really matter all that much. 70% of our respondents said banner.
Yeah.
25% said keeper, and only 5% or so said just like keep her but ban debuff. But
Yeah, like even though debuff is strong, she still has a bunch of strong tools. She got her lariat that just takes some large amount of screen. She has good corner carry. She has good combos, do big damage. It's just like the debuff is the icing on the cake of the crab cream pie, while everything
but the
else
cake is
is
pretty
the
good.
layers.
The cake is already good.
The cake is already good, and then you wanted to add whipped cream, you wanted to add the sprinkles, and then you wanted to add the cherry on top just to have fun.
Damn, now I'm actually hungry. Thank you. And he's gone. He disappeared. No,
I'm back.
all right. So, couple other things. At least one other thing I wanted to touch on while I have you on. Um, there was a tournament that was announced in at the end of Melty Top 8. I don't have the return for you, so you can't see it, but I'm guessing you've watched the trailer already.
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at Climax of Night, the 5th edition. What does it mean to the French bread community? Because oftentimes, like French bread games are there. They might have a spotlight, but they're not the spotlight. What does it mean to have for multiplayers to have a destination like this? To say this event is ours.
It's huge, and the thing is, it's not even just the destination itself, it's the people that's running it. Sonobi, Ben, he is a true fan of Milty, he's a true fan of Undernight, he is a true fan of French bread games in general. So having somebody like that at the helm gives immediate trust to that community, being like, this is my guy, this is someone I can put time, I can support to my fullest. And just as a play for people to play, this gives Melty a major for everybody to go to. This gives Dengeki players someone that most of the time it's a side event, but now it's a main game at a big major event that is now hype up to be. It gives Undernight players a place to show up. It gives Mbon players, people playing Mbon offline. Being able to play a team game offline in front of people just to show off what Gundam can do, that is so amazing for people to have that experience. And just, I'm so glad that Shinobi actually made Climax of Night. It's no secret, I live in Georgia. I go there every year, and I love every time I show up there.
And those of you who are watching the trailer, registration opens on June 3rd. If you're watching in Twitch right now, it's June 3rd in about 2 hours East Coast time. So, yeah, the registration is going to open up at midnight Eastern tonight. So, like I said, about 2 hours. It is going to have a 600-person cap. So, players, players,
Better.
viewers, 600 total. And I do know that there is going to be the same COVID protocols
Mhm.
this year as there were last year, so you will have to provide proof of vaccination. I believe masks will be required in
Mhm.
the venue. Were they last year?
Yes,
Okay.
very much required.
So I would assume that that will be the case this year as well. But definitely follow Night's Climax on Twitter for all the latest updates on that. Man, whole lot happened. We didn't. Did you get a chance to look at any sort of Black Dahlia action?
I watched the Black Dahlia exhibition, but did not catch too much of it. From what I can see, Black Dahlia a very interesting character, having a bit of like a mid-range to rush down playstyle with how her gun style works, with how you have to slowly reload, and then you can use it as an I guess like a pseudo assist where you can set yourself up with a pot shot and just do a mix up as it's falling. That's really interesting to me. I know Sharpie is really looking forward to
Oh,
Black Dahlia, very much
God,
so.
yes. God, yes. I think at one point she was literally crying during the trailer because she is
Yeah.
so happy to have her.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I those kind of feeling when a person just gets that character that just clicks with them is so precious.
dude. All right, we've only got like a minute or two left. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on real quick before we parted company?
Other than what's our world tour that's happening soon, that
Arc
will be
Revo. We
starting at
didn't even
Evo.
talk about Arc Revo.
Yeah, I'll say the facts. I'll say the facts. I promise. So, our world tour that is happening starting at Evo. They're going to be qualifier events. If you win, you're in. If you don't, you good luck trying to get in by like other means. So, other than that, it will be for Guilty Gear Strive and DNF Duel, and then the finals will be happening next year. Personally, this is a cool format for me because I just have to look at who won, and if that person already won, just get second. So, but it's really interesting that they're going back to the year one format for like CPT or Tekken World Tour, where it's just an automatic qualifier than doing like a leaderboard for points or stuff like that. But I know it's still a process. The pandemic is still very much happening right now. So maybe it will turn into that more in the future, or maybe having more implementation, maybe auto qualifier plus a leaderboard in the future. I hope that happens. But you just have to wait and see.
So yeah, the only real caveat with that is that because there is no DNF Duel tournament at Evo, CEO Taku, excuse me, is going to be a double qualifier. So the
Mhm.
top two from that event will make it in to the Arc World Tour final. So I am so salty. I almost forgot that. Thank you for covering my butt there.
You're fine.
Where can people find you on Twitter?
So you can find me, like you see on the tab below, at Blue for Life, 444 for life. Wrestling reference, please. You can also find me on AFGC News. That's where you're going to catch up with all the different types of anime events, news, gameplay videos. There are probably a DNF duel videos happening right now. Stay on this stream. Watch Best of 5. Stay here. And then go watch the video. So do that for me. And then just anytime else, I'm going to be going to CEO. I'll probably be going to Evo. That's still in the plans. So if you see me, say hi. I'm shy, so you have to come to me first. But then if you say hi, then I will have a conversation.
All right. Well, Blue, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate the time. Really, I really love the work you and your team does with AFGC News. Definitely give them a follow if you have an interest in any of the games we talked about over the last half hour. Even if you don't, it's still cool to keep tabs on it. It's still cool to at least know what's going on. So
They play fighting games.
just play fighting games. Bloo, thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful night.
Good night, Canada. Wait, that's your catchphrase. Goodbye,
that's
America.
Mine. You're out of here. You're out of here. Done. Come in here, stealing my thunder. Jeez. You know, I host the guy for like 30 minutes, give him the opportunity to be on my show, and he does that to me on the way out. That's just not cool. That's just not cool. We'll settle.
I mean,
it
that means you have the best writers in the world because they're trying to get your jokes.
That voice you hear is our other guest for the evening. I'm just waiting for the call to finish up. And you are not Blue. You are Daryl. Hi, Daryl.
Hey, I'm Daryl.
Oh, hold on.
I don't. Whoa,
There.
whoa.
Now you're Daryl. Now you're Daryl everywhere.
That's a different Twitter handle, but yeah, sure. I'm Daryl. What's going on?
How's it going? For those of you who do not know, let me give you the proper introduction. Joining us is one of the key members of the not the Climax of Night team.
I mean, I'm on the team, kind of like on and off, but like I'm also part of a different team. Hopefully on the West.
See, Blue got me with that good night, Canada. He's got me all out of sorts.
Yeah, you're shooketh.
I am shooketh and shooketh. But from Vortex Gallery, DJCream himself, Daryl Bunao. Daryl, how are you doing tonight?
It is mad hot out in Cali, but yeah, it must be nice to be like in the middle of the evening for you guys.
Well, I'm upstairs, so all the hot air rises.
Yeah, same.
So I'm under a little bit of pressure, but it is good to see you once again. Thank you for jumping on with us tonight.
Mm-hmm. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invite.
So let's, not everyone watched your first appearance on the show. So let's retread a little bit of history. Can you talk a little bit about how Vortex Gallery came to be?
Okay, so Vortex Gallery, relatively new brand. A lot of people may remember us as Anime Evo, the group that brought together like a bajillion games as side tournaments at Evo every year. Since the pandemic, there's been a lot of like changes with our branding. We've moved on to becoming Vortex Gallery so we could run our own online tournaments, and those have been very successful. Got to collaborate with a ton of TOs across the globe to bring a bajillion games across a whole month. And now we're back to our roots. We're going back to Evo, and we're bringing the Vortex Gallery name with us.
So you're going back to Evo, but you're going back in a different capacity than you had in previous years, because back in the before times, the long ago, Vortex Gallery / Anime Evo was sort of an umbrella for some of the side tournaments there. Now, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna add, yes. I mean, there are people who ran side tournaments, not collaborating with us, and those are like very entrenched communities, such as the CVS2 community or Super Turbo community. Like those groups, those communities, they all know each other on a very personal level, and they don't really need the promotion that we provide to say, hey, there's going to be a Super Turbo tournament. Whereas sometimes, especially nowadays, a lot of the smaller communities, the ones that are just up and going, the ones that are like super niche, like Sailor Moon, for example, like those kind of games you don't really see very often, and their communities are pretty small. But if they group up with us, then we give them a a huger, like a bigger spotlight, and maybe a lot more people will pay attention to like the weird, like the really niche games like Hyunta 2 and Sailor Moon and all those other like weird games, like even Puyo Tetris, like the non-fighting games, for example. We also like to collaborate with the TOs for them as well.
Like, that's one of the things that I really like about Vortex Gallery is that, yeah, you have the games you'd expect to be there. The your Super Turbos. I know it's sort of hasn't not been under that umbrella before. It is now,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have the stuff that's kind of a bit out of left field, like Hyunta 2, like Sailor Moon, like Fist of the North Star. Like, is there a particular game that's sort of it's close to the heart for you? One that you're like, okay, if I have to run a tournament, if everything else is taken care of, except I have to jump in and run one, which one are you jumping in to run yourself?
So for many years prior to it actually getting a Evo main stage selection, it has to be the Under Night series and even the Melty Blood series. Like those two games are what really got me to stay within the FGC, and I always pay it forward by running the side tournaments for Uni, and those got really big real quick, despite having like 2, 3, 4 years of UNIL, like the very first like kind of sketchy revision. Like it was getting kind of stale, but once like UNIL and UniClear came out, like the entries skyrocketed to the point where Evo could no longer like brush us aside, and we got those that main stage spotlight. So those games, thankfully, a new generation is stepping up to run those this year, and I'm super glad to let the new generation of TOs, some of them coming from online experience, finally showing their chops offline. So I'm really glad to see that.
So, what has it been for you? Like for you, seeing, you talked about the revisions of Uni helping get that game more quote unquote mainstream popularity. Seeing Melty come up and get more and more popularity to the point where it's actually in the main Evo lineup. How has that sort of rise over the last few years been for you?
I'm not gonna lie, Melty Blood is like very left field. Like even its announcement, it used to be a meme that like Tsukihime remake is never gonna happen, therefore Melty Blood HD is never gonna happen. Well, joke's on us. We got those two new games, and they are fantastic to play. So, like Melty Blood, that was like I thought we were gonna be playing current code until I grow like old and weak. But I mean, I'm probably still gonna be playing that game. But like to see a new Melty Blood like that, we're hitting the iron when it's hot with that one. As for Uni, like it kind of makes sense that Uni have to go back to the side tournament area to make room for Melty Blood. But honestly, like with Climax of Night being just recently announced, and registration goes up tomorrow or within a couple hours actually.
Yeah,
Like I
midnight
expect that
tonight.
to like continue the momentum. Yeah, I expect that game to carry the momentum that it had in 2019, 2020, and like carry that over to Climax of Night this year.
So
And
let's
Evo, honestly.
yeah, and Evo, and there's so much going on under the Vortex Gallery banner, especially now that you have sort of an official partnership with Evo. How can you, like, I'm not going to ask you to violate any NDAs or anything like that, but can you share a little bit about how that came about, and what that partnership means for people who are going to attend?
Okay, so With new ownership of Evo, Ricksta has contacted us, privately saying, hey, he wants to do, like, he noticed our work with the BYOC. Maybe like he just kind of want to like integrate us into the fold and like, just help manage that entire area, because honestly, that's what we do. Like, with the exception of like, a few select communities. Like now this year, if you're gonna run a side tournament at Evo, talk to us first, and then we'll get you the appropriate amount of space. We'll try to schedule you, because that's going to be a big issue by the time the pull assignments for official Evo pull assignments happen. That's when the side tournament like TOs be like, oh, I kind of want to run this game because it conflicts with this game on Friday, so I want to do it on Saturday, stuff like that. So instead of having the majority of the games be handled by us, it's going to be all the games handled by us. And like, if you're a TO, just talk to us. We'll get we'll make sure that your game is going to be present at Evo. And then honestly, like, we just announced our first wave of games. Like, a lot of those TOs have been screened, approved. A lot of them have worked with us, or we're very aware of their previous work as TOs, and it was a very smooth process. So we have a batch of like 20 something games already like confirmed, and then we're constantly adding new games. Like today we added like Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax. So yeah, that's kind of like how we're going to be handling Evo. And like, thankfully, like, Rick has promised us space for all these side tournaments, because before I felt really bad taking up the entirety of the BYOC area, because that place was originally designed to facilitate like casual play, and now there's going to be casual play area and a side tournament area for us to handle our business.
So this is Vortex Gallery has announced the first wave of games. It's starting to get into the second wave of games that are going to be part of the lineup. I might not have everything listed. I don't think I have Dengeki Bunko on this list.
Yeah, we just announced that today. So like, what's gonna happen is that we have this wave one that you probably have, somewhere on a slide, and then this past like weekend we've added 2 new games, and those games are Dengeki Bunko and Gundam versus Mbon.
Okay, so Gundam I do have, so it's just Dengeki that I'm missing from this list. Let's go over the list so far.
Yeah, sure.
CVS 2. Catherine. Which one? Both of them. Catherine
Yes.
Classic and Catherine Full Body. We've got Chaos Code, New Sign of Catastrophe. Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax Ignition. So if you want to call Ryuji Sweep Assist, that's the game. I wanted to pick that game up and just play Taiga. I don't know.
Taiga's good. She's buffer in this version than the vanilla version.
I gotta wait for it to go back on sale. Eternal Fighter Zero. Fight of Animals. Can how many people do you expect to see for Fight of Animals? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot there.
See, this is not my expertise, but I'm very sure, at least if you are a Will It Kill like aficionado, you know the name Butt69. I'm very sure at least he will show up. They will show up? I haven't met the person. They will show up. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got Butt69 in your tournament, I think that's basically you've got it made.
Yeah.
But Fight of Animals, you've got Guilty Gear in Rev 2 and AC plus R. So double your guiltiness. Jackie Chan
on top of Strive being
and Strife being in the main event. Jackie Chan in Fists of Fire. We've got a Jackie Chan side tournament at Evo.
Fun fact about Jackie Chan. So like our old website, like our FAQ had like a thing where it's like, oh, how can I, do a tournament at Anime Evo, for example, right? And like since the very first year, I've always used Jackie Chan as like the example game I would put in that FAQ answer. So it took, geez, like 8 years, but we finally got Jackie Chan at Evo, baby.
I was shocked that it's happening, but I am so glad it's happening. We've got Marvel 2 and Marvel versus Capcom 2. Melty Blood actress again, because you've got Type Lumina in the main event. So you've got double Melty in Vegas. Mobile Suit Gundam EX Versus. Soul Calibur 6. Street Fighter Alpha 3. You've got some Super Turbo. You've got Tatsunoko versus Capcom. Toho. Please say it for me.
Hiso Tensoku.
Hiso Tensoku. I should know that. Hiso Tensoku.
It was a combo breaker.
It was there.
In the...
I typed it out for the schedule. I took Japanese for 2 years. I forgot most of it, but I took it. Look at my transcript in high school. It's there. Ultra Fight Da, Kyanta 2, and of course Uniclear, rounding things off. As of now, I say as of now, how long are you accepting entries? If
That's
someone says, man, I really want to run a Sailor Moon tournament, how do people make that happen?
All right, I don't have the official date on me right now. I should have, get my notes prepped, but I'm pretty sure at least for the majority of June, we're still accepting volunteers for specifically TOs for new games that they want to add to the lineup. So if you are said, I don't know, Sailor Moon TO, and you have the experience or you've worked with us in the past, then yeah, just hit us up. The volunteer form is at our official website, 956pro.moe, and then follow all the links there. You can also check out our Twitter for links to said volunteer sheets.
Yeah, and that is at 956 Productions, which I am going to add to the chat right now.
I'll also add, I want to see more goofy games, like stuff that you never see at like FGC tournaments. Like if you're actually serious about it, like, bro, just show up with like, I don't know, some DDR requests or something. Like some weird PS1 fighter that we haven't seen yet. Like some off the wall, like, like, why are they doing this? Because I feel like every year we've always stuck the why are they running this game, and it's always because we can. So I want to say that again this year.
Like I was in Mystery at Combo Breaker, this past weekend. There's quite a few that I would not mind seeing some people just sort of run. Like there was this one, I played it on stream and I'm blanking on the name, but all of the characters, they didn't have names. They were just named after their fighting style. So there was like Jeet Kune Do, boxing.
Bro, is that like the Ultimate Warrior freaking fighting game?
No, it wasn't like UFC or anything like that. It was real, like it was right around that was the time that was starting to pick up steam. It's like
what
PS1.
was that one TV show? Oh, it was PS1. Oh, I don't know that one then.
I'll have to go on the stream archive and try and figure it out.
Because I feel like I also like I've done Combo Breaker before once, and I like, those mystery game tournaments, those are rife with potential like WTF kind of like game moments. Like I know when I played it that one year, I played like NFL Blitz and Tony Hawk Pro Skater, among other things.
Like, I am. You know what sent me to losers bracket? Sid Meier's
What happened?
Pirates.
Yo,
I didn't
I didn't even know there was a versus in there.
You could even do 2 players in that game. Like, okay, this is like, okay, I'm a ship. Okay, I'm dead. That's basically how it works.
Well, is it like the Bushido blade of like pirate ships? Like, is that what happened? You got like one and done?
Like I won the first game simply because he kept running into the beach and he couldn't figure out how to turn it. As soon as he figured out driving, it was done. I was cooked. Oh man. But yeah, I expect to see some other goofy stuff. I expect to see a lot of other non-goofy stuff too. Because there's probably a few tournaments that I would expect someone to jump in and say, yeah, I want to run this. So 956productions.moe, vortexgallery.moe, twitter.com/956productions to find all of the information about Vortex Gallery. Not Moe. 956.productions. Not 956productions.moe. I apologize.
Thanks for the clarification. That's our webmaster.
Shibarizu in the chat. Thank you for running everything you do. Man, I'm still salty over Sid Meier's Pirates.
The mystery game tournament is magical because you get mad over playing a game that you didn't know existed 10 minutes prior. It's so good.
like you're like, oh man, this game looks kind of cool. 5 minutes later, this game's so
yeah, right. Table flip emoji.
I would not be surprised if there were an actual table flip game at next year's mystery game.
Fun fact: like this past weekend, I didn't make it a combo breaker, so I went to Fanime, which is an anime convention in NorCal, and the best part is like their arcade room had like a line of fighting game cabs, and nearby is the table flipping arcade game. So anytime somebody gets super salty, I can see them walk to the table flip game and just like let their frustrations out in clear view. It's so great.
Man, I kind of wish that made it over to the arcade that we had, but that's okay. You know, there's always something to aim for next year.
I'm just gonna say that was great floor design.
Oh man, where can people find more about you?
All right, so I'm DJCream. Honestly, I only have like one socials, and that's at Daryl Bunao on Twitter. But if you want to follow some of my other projects, we also have the 956 crew also have a YouTube channel where you can watch previous episodes of our podcast. Our latest one happens to be the reveal show. Actually, no, the most recent one is our boy Shibarizu in chat has commissioned a VR like venue for fighting game fans, and he did a little like MTV Cribs walk around through that. So if you want to check that out, go to our YouTube channel. What is it, like 956 Productions at YouTube? So yeah, come check that out. Check out our previous podcasts. We talk mostly about Evo this past couple episodes, and a lot of them are a lot of fun. So if you want to have something to work, download Best of E first, and download our podcast called the TO Desk.
All right, I'll throw the link into that's the YouTube channel link in chat. I'll throw it in on the YouTube version right about here. or is it there? I forget which corner it pops up in. So it's either on your left or my right. So, but
Or
it will be,
just OS it.
yeah. Just click both corners. Just face roll over the entire screen, and
Yeah, if you have a tablet, just like mash your screen right now
just
with
act
both
like
hands.
act like you're a 2-year-old watching some Baby Shark. Just go. You'll get there eventually.
You're gonna get there eventually. Soon to be dad. Like,
Oh man, I am
Baby
so
Shark's about to see a lot more views.
God. I am so scared and so excited and so scared and so excited and so scared, in that order.
Nice. It's like, going to your first tournament.
First tournament, I went 0-2. I can't afford to go 0-2 here.
No.
Oh, but man, Daryl, thank you so much for hopping on, spending some time with us, with me.
No problem. Like I said, thanks for the invite. I love it.
You're welcome anytime you want to come on. Just we'll kick Alon off, and we'll probably kick me off too, and you can just take over the show.
All right, I'm not a stand-up comedian, but like, I'll figure some sort of like comedy bit out, I guess.
We'll give you like 7 or 8 minutes for a stand-up set. How about that?
That, or I'll do like some sort of like FGC tutorial on like, I don't know, some random character from a random Kusoge. That'll be probably more in line with what this show provides.
Man, there is actually, and I swear to goodness, Idolism J, who I see sometimes in chat, actually did a primer on Toy Fighter that helped me and Alana appreciate when that was on stream at Combo Break It this weekend. So whatever game you want to do, it's gonna help somebody. So
all right. Cool. When the One Piece TCG comes out later this year, I'll have something planned out then.
There we go. Live reveal on Best of 5. All right, Daryl, thank you so much for joining me. And I wanted to say join us, but there's only one of me. All right, take it easy.
Well, all right, later. Take care.
See ya. I'm just glad he didn't do the Goodnight Canada. But that's going to do it for Best of 5. Thank you for everyone who spent some time with us this week. Like I said, if we saw you at EVO or at Combo Breaker, my mind is fried. I need sleep. We appreciate the love. Everyone who watches us, who subscribes to us, retweets our stuff, watches us on YouTube, listens to us on SoundCloud or whatever other podcast platform you choose. We appreciate it. We hope we put on a show that you enjoy. Ilan should be back next week, so we will be back to normal. We'll be diving more into the Street Fighter 6 trailer, as well as any other news that gets revealed between now and then. Until then, thank you for joining us. This is Ace King Offsuit saying, good night, Canada.